out of alignment, keeping us slightly off. And this kind of timing is a bit like that. So let's have a look at the portal for today. So even though it's landing on 11/11, we are in Scorpio season. We are going into the fall period. So in Chinese medicine, it links to the lungs and the large intestine. So it's a lot about reflection. It's a lot about letting go. It's a lot about releasing what you no longer need. There's an intimate link with your ancestral energy as well, which comes from Samhain, the Halloween time, when the veils are thin, very thin around that time. You have 3 days. You have Halloween or Samhain, then you have All Souls and All Saints Day, so a very thin kind of aspect of time, which is 6 weeks from the spring equinox. Yeah, that's right, and 6 weeks from Yule. So if you're into the pagan calendar of the year or the natural cycles that try and keep us in alignment with the moon times and the sun times, these are all things to look at. So the reason I'm mentioning all of this is because it's giving you an idea of how to understand this portal. So even though this is a portal that's set on a normal calendar, which we know has been a little bit skewed off in some ways, and it's bringing us forward into the time of year where we're in deep reflection. We are in transformation. That is Scorpio energy. And if you're on the twin flame journey, you'll know that the transformation process is always happening. It's a period of a period of many cycles, of many inner depths that we go through. And so when we look at the 11/11, we are really allowing ourselves to acknowledge that there is a new beginning. Now, let me have a look at my notes. Now, I wondered about this, and I sat with this earlier in meditation with the idea of it being a new beginning today. So I'm going to sit with that for a moment to see how that feels maybe in your chest when I say today, with the 11/11 energy, we're looking at new beginnings, and see what comes up in yourself. There's a little bit of doubt in my mind. It's interesting. My subconscious, my more negative aspect, goes into a little bit of doubt, but my body actually responds, and my body around my lungs is saying it's ready for a new beginning. And then I'm feeling an activation under my feet in my kind of Earth Star chakra and my root chakra. So just notice when we talk about new beginnings, where in your energy field is being lit up. So we're going to put that on the shelf for a moment, but let that just percolate in us. And let's look at what number 11 means in terms of the twin flame journey and also in numerology. So 11 is a master number. It's the number of spiritual awakening, intuition, alignment, and new beginnings. And the reason it's a new beginning number is because it carries the number 1. Not just once, but twice. And then if we're looking at today, it's 4 times. So it's new beginnings for you, and then new beginnings for your twin, because we're looking at our twin flames as a reflection, as a reflective mirror of who we are. So when you see this 1111, you're looking at spiritual awakening, intuition, alignment, and new beginnings. This is like a portal today, opening up this avenue, this new aspect of what you're moving into. And I'm being shown that we are being asked to shed what we don't need anymore so that we can come much more into alignment with what we do want and we do need. Okay. So on the twin flame journey, you'll notice that we reflect this energy, apart from the fact that the 1111 looks like 2 candles, like I did at the beginning, an alignment standing next to each other. I also think the 1111 also looks a bit like the masculine and feminine and masculine and feminine. And then when they're together, they're sort of reflecting one another as well. So we've got all this soul mirroring going on. And the 1111, the 1111 is about us reflecting our masculine feminine with our twin, and also the merging of what's happening within us. This is a journey that we're all trying to explore in our own way. And sometimes I feel a bit upset when I see people trying to say this is what it is, that is what it is. And it's good to explore it. I love exploring, but to fix it in nature, I think really takes away some of this really incredible dynamic healing ability that it brings. And this is why I like to be a bit more explorative with it and to be more open to go, okay, well, what is this journey showing me? What is this journey showing you? Because we're all such different dynamic blueprints of the divine. We're all so different. We can have things that we relate to with each other and feel like we might have shared values. We might even shared lifetimes with one another. So we have a sort of resonance that can understand one another. But it's also good to really remind ourselves that we're on a very bespoke, individual journey. And so is our twin, but we're reflecting each other in all these moments. So I just want to say here that when we're looking at today, I really think we're looking at reuniting with some aspects of ourselves that maybe we have left behind, left in the dark, and helping the flow of energy by releasing what we no longer need. Okay, so this is what I was also going to do. That was my notes. I'm going to come here and just read the messages again. Okay, so some people are understanding it and some people aren't. 13 chakra system, yes. Yes, so your Earth Star chakra is under your feet. And it's interesting because the traditional chakras are usually just the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. But as we've been developing, and particularly star seeds, we've developed a higher chakra above our head, the angel star chakra, and a chakra under our feet. And I'm told there's more chakras to develop as we move through the dimensions. They help us really anchor into higher and lower dimensions. And we are developing as beings. So who we are, who we were maybe in past lives, and who we are now, we have access to much more information and material than we did before. And I'm just saying, hello, hi Angela from Kauai in Hawaii. Oh, that's lovely. Okay. Right. So on that note, you're probably wondering, well, what is the major shift here? And I've got some cards. I thought I would pick some cards for us. I did pick some up here earlier, which I might just put back in because these are the ones I did this morning, but let's put some back in and pick them for the collective. So if any of these resonate with you, then, take what matters and just discard what doesn't. But let's see. So I'm just asking if there's some cards for our Twin Flame Collective. Okay, so we got, okay, this has been coming up. We got Ascended Master Saint Germain. See if we can see that. And the Amethyst. And this is all about the Violet Flame. Now, I did do a video on the Violet Flame, and I really recommend you use it. I'm using it daily during this period because there's a lot of energy that we're trying to transmute, we're trying to heal, we're trying to clear ourselves, because keeping clear during this time is can be quite tricky. And the more you can keep clear for yourself, the better for your twin as well, because I've been shown that we're moving quite quickly as the awakened twins, and we're anchoring in quite a lot of light, and we're able to keep more stable than perhaps we were before. Whereas our twins are trying to come out of the matrix. They're trying to resolve old karmic ties, anything that's been holding them back. Obviously, their thought patterns about how they behaved in the world and what they're doing. They're trying to reconnect their sacred masculine energies. And so the Violet Flame, if you're using it in your field, can really help them as well to align. So I'm going to put that there for us. And I'm going to pick one more. Here we go. Do it again. So one more for our Twin Flame Collective today. Okay. Oh, this is Goddess Matangi and the Heliotrope. Already there is value. Okay, so this card, you see, this one's talking about self-worth to me. I really feel this is coming up for the Divine Feminine to really understand and know her worth in this world. And I think this is a massive part of the journey. isn't it? To really know and understand your worth and to see it within yourself and to know that actually it's innate in you. Like you don't have to do anything. It's always there. It's always coming through you. But sometimes we have a lot of illusion. And I did do some videos on illusion that kind of keep us thinking that perhaps we're not enough, we're too much, we're not this, not that, or a very critical mindset. And interestingly, on Sunday, I did something I hadn't done for a very long time, which was I exhibited my paintings. And how this all came about, I wasn't meant to. It just sort of, I got offered this thing, and my friend was exhibiting, so I went along and exhibited my paintings. And I haven't done any exhibiting in a long time, perhaps maybe 10 years. I was trying to work out how long it had been. And as my friend was setting up, she had all these amazing paintings. They were so beautiful. And I was working with my inner child to like give myself reassurance while I was going through this process. Like, it's okay, like, let's do these paintings. And I was setting up my stand. And I could really feel that little self-worth wound and the little dialogue in my head, the illusion going, oh, you're not good enough. And I had to really work with it very gently. Now, whenever that comes up for me, I'm sort of anchoring it through the heart. I'm giving it space, giving it time, giving myself reassurance. And actually, it all worked out really well. And I actually ended up selling more paintings than my beautiful friend who had like the most amazing display ever. And I think what it comes down to sometimes, and it's not really about selling, it's just that I needed maybe to know that I was able to reassure myself, to know that those illusions, those things that would eat and gnaw away at my self-worth were actually able to be dissolved and to heal. Okay, I've got a little question. I've got someone asking, who is heliotrope? Now, heliotrope is, I'm just seeing if I've got the book here. These are where the cards are from. Beautiful Alana Starchild. She's Fairchild. She's amazing. The heliotrope is a type of crystal. Let's have a look here. Number 43. Let's see if I can tell you. Gosh, I'm not used to these videos being interactive. People can actually ask me questions. and I respond. How amazing is that? Gosh, that's incredible, isn't it? Technology, all of us from all over the world can sit here and have a chat. I'm usually in Zoom, so this feels different on YouTube. So let's have a look at heliotrope. Already there is value. I can't edit out the pause bits, though. That's the downside, isn't it? So they're talking about innovative, creative minds that tend to be future orientated. Now, I think that's kind of interesting because I think all our twin flames are very future orientated, meaning we're seeding aspects of the new earth. We're bringing in new consciousness. Hello, Kat. We're bringing in aspects of the new earth through our soul purpose work, through the healing we bring and all the other aspects of wonderful, incredible gifts that I've seen with people doing on the twin flame journey. So I'm just seeing if it can tell me what the heliotrope is. Okay, so the crystal angel of heliotrope is about building a bridge between the past, present, and future to sit with your creative efforts and what already exists in your life, like your relationships, your possessions, the information that you bring with you in your body. And if you have anything in you, like a project, a situation, or inner guidance that you've already received, but you haven't yet fully integrated, then this crystal is a very useful crystal to use for this process. If you are inspired to reinvigorate a past practice or project, or revive or reinvent yourself, then this crystal is very good for helping this process. Okay, so I think that fits quite well with twin flames. So what I thought we'd do is, because we're together on this live, if you feel drawn, then to write down or even share in the comments, depending on how you feel about that, what it is that you feel that you would like to begin from this point. And we'll just all acknowledge it. If you write it down, Just acknowledge it. The collective energy of the space will be acknowledging it together. And we're going to see how that seeds into the next part of your journey in this process. I'm just coming back to the thing. Self-worth. Yes, thank you, Natalie. Self-worth is a massive one. It's amazing because when I look at how beautiful and strong the feminine is, all the wonderful things that happen in the world are, have all these beautiful feminines usually behind it, but yet they do not get acknowledged and they don't usually feel like they are worthy of it. So sometimes we need this reflective mirror to show us our true worth, to know that we are worthy. And one of the things that the twin flame journey does do, I think, is bring that all to the surface. There's nothing like somebody that you're completely, unbelievably in love with, who's probably blocking you and rejecting you, to really bring that wound up in sometimes not a very nice way, but to bring it to the surface so that you can begin to work with it. You can begin to cry, to journal, to see it for what it is, to ascend past that, to transform it in your body so that you can move past it into something else. And we've got someone, hello, BK. You're saying that your wound is around being seen and to take up space. Yeah, this is a huge thing, isn't it? To be seen, to be visible. I know that this was one of my wounds as well. Huge wound around being visible. I'm very unconscious. That's what I want to make clear on this. Some people are really aware that they're doing that, whereas I wasn't aware, but people were telling me. And I found it so interesting that I would do loads and loads of marketing for my business, or I would do this, that, and the other, and I would never get any traction or be seen. It was very interesting. But the twin flame journey has really just, blown that all apart. And I think what's happening is my masculine frequency has been reflected in my twin, and it's activated within me and allowed me to come forward. And I think there was a lot of hiding, unconscious hiding, and feeling like I wanted to feel safe. I still want to feel safe, absolutely. But there was something that needed to be activated to help me shift from my unconscious, trying to hide myself and be invisible, to being more conscious. Now, this may not be how everybody does it because we're all so different, but I do notice that there is a lot of visibility coming up in the readings with people. So when you're doing things like your soul work, you might really want to be visible. You might be wanting to step out and, get more traction or meet the right people, or even meet your soul tribe, because that was another thing I noticed, is that I would have huge resonance with people when I met them as part of my soul tribe, and yet they wouldn't recognize me. Whereas now I'm noticing when I meet them, I can see that they're recognizing me on a soul level. So there is quite a big shift that I think is going on in the collective around becoming visible. And yes, I think shame is a massive part of that, like dealing with inherited shame, intergenerational shame, our own programming around our, shame that comes up in the collective and how we're programmed and conditioned. But the twin flame collective can move beyond all of that. I believe everything is possible to be healed with the right vibration, with love, and more importantly, to stop judging ourselves, just to allow ourselves to be completely authentic and allow that vibration of authenticity to really come through your field, and it will push out what no longer vibrates with it. Now let's see. Oh, and here we go. Francesca's talked about to be authentic and to follow her calling. That's so beautiful. Yeah, that's so lovely. And I want to keep space for a masculine that chooses me in your truest self. Yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. Do you know what I'm feeling from that as well, Francesca, is that what's going on there when we meet our twins, because they are the same soul resonance, they're our mirror, aren't they? They're what we've been waiting for, like the exact same frequency. And I think that wakes us up, especially because often the activation is very love-based for the divine feminine, isn't it? Like, feel this immense amount of love. And actually, in this mirror aspect, you're loving them, like your frequency is like ding, like love, and they're receiving that, even if they're rejecting it. But it's actually healing between you. You're creating that resonant field of healing each other. And I think we get a lot of higher vibrational hits coming through us, maybe from our higher self as well, because it can amplify through two bodies, your twin and you. I don't know which hand is my twin now. But you can get this higher vibrational hit because you're in this amplified field together. Now, I don't want to lose the track on this, because what I was saying, yes, so in a way, you're having this the same frequency resonance helps to strengthen your energy field with your frequency, which also helps you to remember who you are, to be more authentic. And also, I think it works as a protective quality in your energy field, where that frequency is strengthening who you are as well. Oh, let's have a look on here. Erica said, yeah, the soul tribe is needed and connection with other DFs on the TF journey. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is part of being visible as well, because it's so, if we wander around and nobody recognizes who we are, nobody can then quite get our frequency. We can't quite meet them on some level. We have to dim down to be able to be acceptable and to meet people. Then this creates a bit of a distortion, isn't it, inside of us, and a bit of confusion as well. Like, the matrix is kind of saying, I have to be someone else to be acceptable, or I have to be someone else to fit in with these people, or my family, or this relationship. And this is what's being healed, I think, in this process, because the twin flame journey does ask us to be completely authentic, doesn't it? It's like when we're with our twin, we can't be anything else but who we are. And if we try to be anything else but who we are, then it gets kind of whopped out of us, doesn't it? We get rejected or something else happens. And I think it is the same for the matrix twin as well. I'm just going to read all these comments because, wow, you're all going for it here. Give me a moment. Okay, so this is Lila. Thank you for commenting. Okay, so you're a Reiki, you're a healer. You're a healer. This is wonderful, Lila. So I hope I'm saying your name correctly. This is wonderful. You're a healer, and so if you're feeling that to step out, to move forward, you might. I'm getting a little hit from my guide saying you might have to heal something, a trauma around. That being a healer, feeling safe to be a healer in this life. That's my guide is telling me. So there might be a little bit of trauma around that, and that's okay. You can heal that. You can do Reiki on it. We're just, bringing it from the unconscious to the conscious mind just by talking about it. And that might be enough to push you into, I want to do this now. I feel safe enough to step out in the world and do this now. And what I want to say here, Lila, is that people need your healing. They need it. That's why you came. And you're probably, if you're not advertising and healing, like in the traditional sense, like setting up a shop and people pay you, you'll often be healing anyway through everything you're doing in your life. So some people choose to do it that way. But if you're feeling drawn to make that your soul purpose, to make that your life's work, then just know that little push is coming to, like, come on then, now it's time to do it. It's really important we step into who we are, because we only have a short amount of time in these incarnations, don't we? Like 100 years, it goes poof like that. I mean, I'm nearly halfway through. so we need to keep going, don't we? And I'm just going to say, you're all talking to me. Okay, let's have a look. So yeah, this feeling of isolation and not having connection with other divine feminines. I think this is the thing, and this is partly why I'm doing the YouTubes, because I'm beginning to meet you all. It's been incredible. And I do feel we should at some point create a little directory, a little what everyone's doing around the world, and support other people's work, because you've all been really amazing high level beings, like very old souls, very competent in what you're bringing, and really lovely, clear soul purposes. Even if you're not starting them yet, you will. It's going to happen. Okay. So what's Johnny is saying about trusting the timing and process, knowing truth versus actually trusting. Okay. Now, This is interesting. I tell you what, this comes up for me here, and I am tuning into my guides now, just so that is happening. What I'm seeing with that is we we can often know things conceptually. Now, particularly if we've got very strong third eyes, and we can often vision and know something is coming, know into the future. And I noticed something very distinct that happened where when just before 2020, I noticed that I couldn't really see into the future anymore. I could always see a little bit ahead, always a little bit ahead. Sometimes not entirely for me, that was more intuitive, but for other people, I could always see a little bit ahead. When we got just before 2020, I remember having this client who was asking about moving somewhere in America. She wanted to move, and I was told we can't see past this date, which was 2020, before everything kind of came out in the way it did. And that was very interesting because I was being shown that we're dissolving the old matrix, we're dissolving the old fixed timelines, we're actually coming into a point of creativity. So what we saw before was a kind of fixed timeline that was leading us somewhere. We had a little bit of leeway on it, but actually it was like a bit like a train track. It could only go in one direction. And what I'm seeing now is we're actually forming and creating that process more for ourselves. We're more actively involved, particularly if you're an old soul. Some will be more actively involved than others, depending on your skill. But there is this kind of creative process going on. So when you have divine timing and you have this idea that something is coming and you're very aware of that something's about to come in, um, there can be this sort of slight shift around it, because what we conceptually know is true, like this idea, like this will happen next month, and the reality of it actually happening, I'm seeing is two different dimensional flows. um I don't want to be too complicated here, but time exists through the material world. So the material world, the fixed world, like matter, is third dimension, and it's fixed, isn't it? It's, there's a little bit of vibration, it does vibrate, but it is pretty fixed. It's holding things in forms, holding things, solid things in form. And then time is a much more fluid process. It's often moving, and I see them like lines moving through time space. This is what's created when you bring them together. Where am I going with this? Where am I going? So when we come into things like divine timing, we're having to bring concepts that are higher, things that are being put into place, like design from the fifth dimension above. We're having to bring it through this process into the physical world. And this is why it's not very exact. I would love it to be exact. I would love everything. We go, oh, we're going to hear from our twin next week, and we're going to, get that job and do that thing next week. But every time I've tried to do that, I've noticed it's been slightly off. And I have asked a lot of questions about this with the council, angelic council. And what they're showing me is a lot of these concepts are really quite difficult for us to understand, and just to know that our mind is still very fixed in the 3D world, in the mind matrix. So it's better to have an intuitive feeling to come through the body. Because if we attune ourselves to divine timing, which is more about the earth, a bit like the plants do, a bit like natural nature things do, and maybe animals and maybe our physical bodies, if we attune more to that, it helps us be firstly more intuitive about what's coming, which is a good thing. It's a strength. And also it helps us build our knowledge about the world around us and how it works. It also helps with manifestation. Okay, so let's have a look here. So I don't know if that actually helped you, trusting the timing and process. So it is about trusting the timing and process. Just imagine you plant a seed, and in its own time, under the right conditions, in its own environment, the seed begins to grow. It creates connections with its soil and the water, and then the light. And then very gently it unfolds exactly when it's meant to, exactly as it's meant to. And this is the picture that I'm being shown every time we talk about divine timing, that the conditions have to be a certain way. And some of that is what's around us, environmental. Some of us is what's inside of us. And if you're doing a twin flame, then it's in what's happening in both of you. So that takes time too, because you need alignment and balance. But there's this very beautiful process, but it's a strong process. And actually, it's more based in realness and reality than any illusion we have with the mind. Okay, I think I just went off on one then, didn't I? Let me come back to these questions. Oh, and there's people. Oh, this is lovely. Hello, Fumi. You want to connect with your soul family and people who understand you from a soul level and resonate with you. Yeah, not just on surface level. I'd also love to start Reiki healing. Do you know what that brings up for me is I was thinking the other day about this. I've sometimes always felt very lonely in this life, and I realized that my twin feels lonely too. And that when I met my twin, because we were the exact resonance, that feeling of loneliness just went. It just disappeared, because I think it's because they feel like home, and we're all looking for that perfect kind of energy resonance that really meets us and helps us feel good, and also helps us, our bodies to align, our chakras to align, our energetic bodies to align. So I think our soul family and other people who understand us, it's really important, because loneliness is probably one of the most awful things I can think of. You know, it can make people very ill. So we all need to reconnect with each other. So I'm just having a look here. You want a healthy love? Yes. Okay. So I love these. I'm going to take these as all your new seeds. What you want to place as your new seeds coming through this portal. This is what you want. You want your soul family. You want, beautiful connections. You want to really connect into a new love. Okay. And I'm just seeing, could you please share practical ways you healed the being seen wound? Okay. Okay. So the being seen wound, the practical ways, well, I think there's some of this is inner work. Some of this is about knowing and listening to yourself. Because I realized that a lot of the time I wasn't really listening to myself. Very good at listening to everyone else and picking up on energies around me, but sometimes I wasn't really going within, and sometimes doing some really good inner child work. Does my child feel safe? Because imagine if you don't feel safe, you kind of hide. And if you can create a feeling of safety around you, then you're more likely to want to step out and express yourself and bloom and be received and respected. A very practical tool I used was an affirmation tool, which was, everybody in my life loves, honors, and respects me. I think that was it. Everybody in my life loves, honors, and respects me. I think I did that affirmation for a while, because I was having a kind of opposite experience to that, and it began to work. So I love affirmations. I think they work really well. And also checking in with your inner child, listening to your inner child. Like, what does your inner child need to feel safe? What do you need to feel secure? What do you need to feel loved? And it bypasses the mind a bit. It goes a bit deeper. Like, what is that part of me that I'm not listening to? Maybe I can listen to it. So any sort of inner child work, I think, is really helpful. Okay, I'm just whizzing through these. My goodness, guys, you are very talkative. Okay. So let's have a look here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cover all this. Okay, so we've also got a wound of not being chosen by your twin. I think that's a tough one. I totally get that. Oh, but you've been healing it, Barbara. Oh, that's brilliant. So I worked with someone who also had this deep wound of not feeling chosen. And when we tracked it back, it was coming from some sort of trauma in childhood, actually. And they noticed that each relationship they had was playing out that wound. And I mean, we can even track this back to, like when you have sports teams at school and someone doesn't pick you. I mean, it's the most horrible feeling, isn't it? It's like a deep rejection of who you are on some level, even though it's not. It's only just a sports team, but it kind of goes deep, especially if you're sensitive. So these are the sort of wounds that we can heal by just very gently looking after our inner child. And most of you are really good healers, so you could probably even give me tips on how to heal things. Okay. Yes, this is Lila saying that the first time she did not feel lonely was when she was with her twin. I can totally relate to that. I can really relate to that. I felt that too. And I think sometimes that makes it worse when you go into separation, because you can kind of feel like, oh, am I ever going to have that feeling again? Am I ever going to have that connection again? But I don't know if you felt this, Lila, that I noticed that a lot of wounding around that cleared up for me. It was almost like I was waiting for the feeling, like maybe I'd lost hope that I was ever going to meet someone that really connected with me. So it was a big healing for me to have that experience, even though we went into separation. And I definitely felt the loss of that, like deep loss, like a lot of crying. I think I cried every day for a year, just so you know. It was like, oh, cry, cry, cry. But then what came out of that was gratitude, like an extreme sense of gratitude that I had met him and I had had that experience. And even if it was fleeting, it had been enough to leave an imprint on me, to leave something on my heart memory that really healed an aspect of my heart matrix that was needing to be healed. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Okay, so and we've got a beautiful divine feminine in a male body, and thank you for joining us. This is Johnny. Thank you so much for joining us, because I have had these beautiful men coming for readings as well, and I just wonder sometimes, are we meeting you enough? Because it's tricky, isn't it? Like, we're all dealing with a masculine and feminine. It's like, well, it's all getting a bit crossed over, but just know that everyone's welcome, and we're all pretty much on this journey together, aren't we? Trying to work it out. And it's very interesting to see how this is done, and to understand that we're trying to collectively balance the feminine and collectively balance the masculine. I'm wondering, this is opposite. This is my left, but on the screen it's different. So just know that we're collectively balancing this in ourselves, and that's actually having an effect on the collective and other people. Because once we get really balanced here, our energy fields are going to be super strong. We're going to be like amplifiers of energy, like to the extreme level. So very healing a configuration to be completely strong in your masculine feminine. You'll notice that the matrix, the world we're living in, which is full of distortion, unfortunately, is trying to keep us distorted, is trying to split us apart. But actually we need these energies working together and aligning. Okay. So I'm just coming down here. I'm going to pull another cards in the moment, but I just want to make sure we get all the way through. So Francesca said here, I wonder whether other DMs can also communicate with everyone else except their twin. Okay, I understand. Yours drops in down neutral lines that sometimes don't feel very important or very different telepathically. Okay, so I wonder how you're doing. Now, I have said this in a video, that I do communicate with some other people telepathically. They are my mother and my daughter, one of my daughters, not both my daughters, because and it's usually because my mother and my eldest daughter we're very mental realm. So I communicate with them mentally. My younger daughter, we're more sensitive, sentient when we communicate with one another. So it's a different level of communication. So but I do pick up people's thought forms. Like, I've had that my whole life, like feel people's thoughts, and that's been one of my struggles actually. Is if you get a lot of people's thoughts, you begin to absorb them, and then begin to feel quite unwell about yourself, because a lot of people's thoughts are quite distorted, sadly. But the twin telepathy is quite interesting, because you're not with them. I can do it when I'm not with them, but when I was with them, it was a real shock. Like, oh my god, it's like talking in my head. It's like bizarre. So I think some people can do this, not everybody, but I think it's a thing. Yeah, and I guess when I understand that, like, we're all different, like where we're loaded up, like what chakras are well developed on each of us. And that has something to do with our star frequency, I believe, like what we're coming in with. So some of us might be really brilliant on third eye or crown, or the mental level, or the emotional level, or the physical level. Like we all have different ways. And so when you meet your twin, some people might be really bonded on the sacral chakra. They might have all this kind of tantric quality between them, and others might be very, very drawn on the root chakra. So we all have these different ways we are strong in different ways, and that comes across. So I think the mental telepathy, maybe I'm just, I'm just thinking back to all the people I've met on Zoom so far. I think the mental telepathy might be because some people are just very, um, they have, they use their mental energy a lot. They're very clear on their mental energy. Okay, I'm just coming down here. So, beautiful empathic gem. I'm going to read yours out. You're meeting your twin this Saturday, and it never ceases to amaze you how nervous you get. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you. Do you know what? I have the same thing. If I have a feeling I'm going to meet my twin somewhere, I get really anxious too. And then sometimes I wonder if I want to go. I like sort of, yeah, it's almost like it becomes too much, like going through my body, pulsing through my body. But as we know, like anxiety can also be excitement. It can have a similar root. And I'm glad that you calm down when you're with them, because sometimes I notice my twin and I, sometimes my body shakes, like, and I'm like wobbling all over the place, and I can't, and I notice that he struggles to get his words out. So this is definitely a thing. And what I'm noticing is it's because our energy instruments are trying to balance, and often we need to be quite grounded when that's happening. I think it really depends who you are. If you're like really strong on your root chakras, maybe you just completely sink in. And I think there's a consciousness about this twin flame journey. Like before I realized any of this twin flame stuff, it was so easy with my twin. We were like just hanging out, having a great time, really enjoying ourselves. And as soon as I became conscious of it all, it's that kind of unconscious, subconscious, unconscious state. As soon as I became conscious of it, it was like, oh, then all of a sudden I was having to work with quite a lot of anxiety and feelings that I was totally unconscious of before. And it was a lot easier when I just felt more relaxed. Okay. Natalie, thank you for sharing about your loneliness. Yeah. You always felt like a spectator looking in. Yeah, I can feel this. Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. And I think, do you know what some of that is actually about? And I've asked the Angelic Council, some of that is because our frequency is so different. And there is an authenticity to the Twin Flame Collective, the Divine Feminines. And that authenticity doesn't really allow us to play like in a facade, play in the matrix and pretend to be something else. We can try, but often we can feel like something's a bit off. Our instruments are very clear. You're often very spiritually empathic, so you know when something's a bit off. And so it's a bit like most people can sit in that distortion and play along, but it's a bit like we can't, and we can also see it as well. Like sometimes I meet people and I'm like, how can people not see that? How can how can people not see what's going on there? But they are completely unaware. And I think that in a way sets you apart as well. And I have, maybe I have some bad news for everyone here. Let's see what you think about it. But I'm often being shown the more we clean up our instruments, the more healthier we get, the more aligned we get, the more we're doing our soul purpose. Actually, we might feel that disconnect a bit more. But the good news is we might meet more of our soul tribe. So we might meet the people who actually are alive and alight and shining like this flame, and then we're easier to see and they're easier to see. So we may not be able to very easily slip into or back into a kind of matrix setup, but we can align and illuminate in a way that helps us to find each other. Okay. Oh, so a few of you have mentioned the loneliness now. Yeah, so hopefully that helps a little bit. And what was Barbara saying here? My twin was asking for fellowship when we met. That's really lovely. And my crew said he asked, and no, he's married. Okay, he's lonely. Yeah. feels like he's going through something deep right now. I think all the masculines are going through something deep right now. I'm seeing that across the board. And even ones that aren't in a twin flame dynamic, I'm noticing they're having a real opening up, an activation on the right side of the heart. And this has been pretty tricky for a lot of them, actually, but they're going to come through it. They're all going to be okay. It just depends how much resistance they put in. If they try and step into their ego, then they're probably going to have a tower moment of sorts where things are removed for them so that they can really drop into the true nature of who they are and be more authentic. I am being shown that a lot at the moment. And the fact that he's, married and lonely, I see this all the time, people in relationships where they are not being met. They're really not being aligned. And that is actually a part of our own process, isn't it? To identify when something isn't working for us, whether it's a relationship or a home or a job or a career path or any, all these things like we have to work out, well, if this is not working for me anymore, then when I realign, it's just going to fall away, and I need to accept that process and work with it. So when you notice that your matrix twins are feeling quite lonely in their relationship, that didn't just happen overnight. That would have happened, almost in childhood, I think. And thank goodness they met you. That's all I can say, because it's helping them to wake up, and it's helping them to meet that need of connection, of the heart, of self-realization, self-actualization, meaning they recognize themselves as important, as lovable. They have integrity with themselves around that, about why they came into earth this time, all the things they want to do here with all their beautiful talents, that they don't stay in this kind of hiding quality within relationships that are stagnant and do not serve them any longer. Okay. Thank you, Barbara. Yeah, we are being supported by the masculine collective too. I really do feel that, they're not just here to drive us bonkers. I don't think so anyway. There is that. I mean, the trouble we've got here is that we've got the surface level, the 3D, and often some of the behaviors are very confusing. They're a bit distorted. I think distortion is such a good word for this, that we just go, oh, it's a bit distorted. And I'm reminded by the Angelic Council, it's a bit like, do you remember the old vinyl record players? Although they're coming back into fashion now. And if you had a bit of dust on the needle and you put it on the record player, I'm showing my age now, okay? And you put it on the record player and it would make that crackling sound. So you'd have this beautiful music playing of whatever you liked on the vinyl, and then this crackle, crackle, crackle. And that's kind of what we're dealing with, distortion, that it's all the beauty still there. We're just dealing with these frequencies that are a little bit sticky. We're just cleaning them out. And that's what the matrix twins are trying to do as well as us. But they're a much more concentrated form of trying to clear away all this kind of debris that they've collected over time. Oh my goodness, Claire, is it your DM lives next door to you and you get so nervous when you see him, you want to hide? Oh my goodness, what's that a metaphor for? Like, to have them right next door? That's so interesting. So your energy fields must be communicating a lot of the time. Like, there must be a lot of communication if that's where they are. You must be creating a lot of resonant space between you both. But yeah, I can imagine that it's, but just know, if they're your twin, like, being completely authentic is fine. Like, yeah, that might just be something to know, that you're acceptable, to know that you're loved, to know that everything about you is completely acceptable and lovable. And that's your journey of self-love. Yeah. And on that note, when I ask anything in readings about how the sacred masculine twins, the matrix twins, see their divine feminine twins, I get the most beautiful things. Oh my goodness, I think I should start writing them down. They're things like, they shine like the sun. They're like the light. They're the most beautiful beings they've ever seen. They're just like angels and angelic presence. So how we see ourselves and how the sacred masculines see the divine feminine counterpart, I think it would actually blow our minds a bit. But you kind of know how you see your twin. So it's that in reflection. But I get the impression, because they're the matrix twin, they're much more into maybe the matrix world, the physical world, how things look, that they see you as like a representative of the divine feminine. So we're looking, you know, like a goddess. That's what I'm trying to say here. So even if you're struggling to see that about yourself, they are seeing that about you. Okay. And Francesca, thank you for your video on twins radiating light. Yes, this is kind of hooking into that, isn't it, a little bit? And it does seem like a dream, and seeing the aura. Yeah, I mean, if you've seen that video, I told you about the looking up and seeing my twin on the hill, and it was like he was part of a painting, and like Apollo, who was like the sun, like Apollo. It was like the craziest experience ever, but it left such an imprint on me. Like there was just so much beauty, and I was just receiving it into my energy field. And interestingly, I think that you receive that in because you can see it and it's reflected back at you. There's a sort of beautiful amplified energy quality between you and your twin when that kind of thing happens. Okay. And the last one on my little list here is thanks for reminding us about his friends, telling me, oh, there's another one appeared, that it's good. Yeah, it's good he met me, and sometimes easy to forget the good things. Yeah, it's really important we keep reminding ourselves of the positives, because if you're like me, we can go into like a slow kind of, you know, negative spiral with our thinking, our thoughts. This is when things like illusions that we have about ourselves, like not being good enough or being too much, or that's when we have to really be careful about our thoughts and our thought processes. And if you're in that part of the initiation, I talked about in a video about the 3 initiations: the physical initiation, the emotional initiation, the mental initiation. If you're in the initiation where you're looking at your thoughts, trying to keep them positive is really important. I know that I can go in little stories in my head and negative spirals about what's happening. And the more you can anchor in the positive bits, the better. So remembering the positive moments and having the positive affirmations in your mind, the better. Okay, so Natalie, you've said something, and then I'm going to go and move on to cards. Okay, so you're saying the most beautiful things is what your twin says to you, and he'll quote songs that you hear in your dreams and then gone. The journey is surreal. Do you know what? The journey is very surreal. The journey is very surreal. And I noticed this, that every time I go, oh, I'm done with this, I'm not going to do it anymore. Like the other day, I was like, oh, I was just, I'm fed up thinking about this now. And I went somewhere in London, and then there was his name on the road that I went to. I was going to like a building, and it was just like written on the. I was like, can you believe it? Everywhere I go, seeing his name, having songs, dreams. Yeah, it just, we know it just goes on. It is surreal. It is surreal, but we're all having it together now. So we're all having a really weird, surreal experience. Now, the one thing I wanted to do before, how are we doing for time? Oh my goodness, we've almost been an hour. So I've got these cards here, which I don't get out very often. You've probably seen them before. And I just wanted to try and bring through a message from your twin. Obviously, there's a lot of us on here. So I'm going to pick 3 cards, and you take which resonates with you. I am being told by my guides that there's been a lot of healing because we're all together as a collective on this call. That there's been a lot of healing for the twins as well. What I've been doing, it's like we've created a resonant field of like love for them. So I'm going to pick 3. So this are messages from your twin. Take which one that feels right for you. So the first one is, I'm holding on to the memories of us. That's the first one. I'm going to put it here. And then the second one is, I hate seeing you with them. So I don't know if you're with someone, or maybe they think you're with someone, maybe a friend, I noticed that a lot. There's a lot of jealousy with the Matrix twins, especially if they're not coming forward. They seem to get a little bit stuck in their head. And the third one is, I'm in love with you. There you go. There you go. And because we've been doing affirmations, like deciding what we're going to seed as we go forward with this 1111 portal, I've also got these cards. So I'm going to pick one of these for us as a group to help us move through this portal together. Ah, I love this. I'm living to my full potential. There we go. Anchor that one in. And I've got the bell and the church next to me. So anchor that one in. I'm living to my full potential, because I'm sensing that after this Scorpio season, we're all going to begin being more active in our work and our potentials of what we're bringing to the world. And by next year, well, a lot of us are going to be in full flow, which is really good. And we're going to be helping each other to really enact our soul purposes here on Earth. Okay, so look, guys, we've done a whole hour. That's gone so quickly. It's made me think maybe we'll do this again. I hope that reading your messages and everybody got something from it. It's been so lovely to join with you. Now my computer's kind of empty. I'm going to make some more videos. And if you have any ideas of what you want me to make, then you can always put it in the comments on the videos, and I'll come up with something, because my whole process is to take information and collaborate with the Angelic Council of Light, to sit with it, to see what they say, and then try and make a video to express it in a way that really helps us to evolve and to maybe move through any blocks or anything that's holding us back. Okay, it's been beautiful to meet you. Thank you so much for being here, and lots of love and blessings as we go forward.